Liverpool 3, Manchester United 0, and I can't lie, you guys absolutely cooked our defence. Now, I'm not super worried as a Man United fan because most of that back line probably won't play a lot next season, but as soon as Liverpool broke our press, they were lethal in attack. Salah looked on it. You could see, particularly in the second half, Slot's system and the attacking fluidity that was there, the movements, the rotations. And it was an impressive display from Liverpool, who probably 3-0 was a flattering scoreline. I think as a United fan, I was quite impressed with United's first half performance, despite being 2-0 down. I think we made it difficult for you to play out from the back. I think the fact that you didn't have a natural six and you had sort of Jones playing there, we're winning back the ball, we were dispossessing with our high press. And I think the elements of what United did in the first half I was happy with and felt that we were unlucky to be 2-0 down. I think your goalkeepers were really good, Keller particularly in the first half, but in the second half that keeper was good. If you do sell Keller, you could have a decent option out there. But I thought Liverpool in attack, I think Liverpool in general, it was a very good display for them. It was a 3-0 win when they're not at their best, when they've got a lot of key players missing, and they beat United 3-0, and they're only going to get better from that. And when I say Liverpool weren't at the best, I'm not saying that they're bad, but you can see they need a DM. You can see there was some midfield issues there, particularly in possession, giving the ball away. You could see it, but they also won the game 3-0. They also were quite comfortable, and you could also see Slot start to play. And as Liverpool, maybe get those one or two additions in, which I'm sure they will, especially now pre-season's over, and they learn and adapt to Slot's style of play, they're going to get better and better and better. And if I was a Liverpool fan, it's exciting. I think the project you've got under Slot is exciting because you've got this new manager coming in and all of his ideas are slowly being translated on the pitch. It is an exciting style of football. It is an attacking brand of football. And, it's 3 games into pre-season. You've seen 3 impressive performances from Liverpool, despite not having a lot of players and profiles that Slot will need. He's making the best out of your squad. There's attacking fluidity. It's exciting to watch. And I think Liverpool have something good going on there, especially because they have Trent, Van Dijk, key players to come back in. And I think for the second half, Liverpool were very, very comfortable. First half, I think we gave you a game and we forced some good saves. And obviously, just Casemiro was a mess and our defence was a mess. And you were very good going forward, but our defence was absolutely atrocious. But you could see the identity. You could see the style of play. You could see what Slot was trying to do. While they were giving the ball away here and there, and Curtis Jones was taking a few too many touches, a bit slow. And I think United set up quite well in the second half. Liverpool did well, and I can't lie, I thought Gravenberch had a really good game, and I will talk about Gravenberch. I think he's a player that Slot could get the best out of, Gravenberch and Gatland. I'm not just saying that because they're Dutch, but they're 2 players that Klopp's brought in that I don't think he's used them in their best role and to their best strengths, that I do think suit Slot's style of ball more. And I think, the lack of 6 probably was the biggest problem for Liverpool today, just because it took away that speed. They weren't moving the ball as quickly in midfield. Curtis Jones takes a few too many touches, and I think if they could release the ball a little bit quicker, move the ball quicker, they would have caused us even more problems, particularly when they do penetrate the last line of our press. They get through there, they're very good. But I think particularly because I would say Liverpool weren't even, out of second gear for a lot of that game. I think that was an impressive performance because if they can just keep the ball longer and then, their midfield can adapt to Slot's tactics, it will work well. And I think one thing is that it took Slot a little bit of time. And when I say a little bit of time, not lots of time, but the players are just readjusting and learning Slot tactic. And you can see that his principles, his style of play is there. And I think every time Liverpool broke our press, it was causing problems. Now, I want to talk about Gravenberch, I want to talk about Conor Bradley, I want to talk about Salah, my 3 standout players today. But I have to say, both Liverpool goalies impressed me. I think both were really impressive. Particularly in the second half, you could see Slot's really advanced style of play and progression and build-up. And I think one thing I noticed, and I don't know if you guys, Liverpool fans watching, noticed this, is but you were passing between the lines. There was a lot less backward, forward, sideways passes. You were playing more risky. You were passing between the lines. Your progression was in general a lot better. And I think I did a video on Liverpool like 2 days ago, and I said that Liverpool are looking for a highly technical DM. And you could see that because the way that Slot wanted to play between the lines, whether you go for a Varela, whether you go for a Subamende, whether you go for a Stiller, I think Stiller could be a really good option. It'll be interesting because Slot also needs players that are good out of possession and can cover large space. He's got a demanding style of football. But do you think, like, if Liverpool sign a DM and maybe someone that can be a left-back, left-centre-back hybrid, that puts them in a very good position because Gakpo and Diaz are good left-wing options, despite Anthony Gordon obviously being an improvement there. I think Liverpool have something good going on. And I think, look, as a United fan, I don't think you guys won 3-0 and absolutely battered and thrashed us. I think you won 3-0 and you deserved to win. You looked quite comfortable and you weren't at your best and you had key players missing. But I think it was a matter of our defence being bad, us missing chances, your goalkeepers being well. I think that Casemiro was a mess and our defence was bad. But Liverpool in that second half looked very, very comfortable. I think Salah looked really, really like he was enjoying himself. I think Salah's had a good pre-season in general, causing problems. He obviously was up against a very inexperienced Amas, but you could see the organisation, you could see the style of play. And I think one thing that I noticed, and this might be like something different, but there was a lot of freedom of movement in Liverpool's forwards compared to under Klopp, where it was a bit more fixed. Salah, when he was picking up the ball, was coming central, was coming into the 10 position, picking up the ball in the transition. And him and Elliott were rotating, and Salah could come central, pick up the ball in the transition, and Elliott will be in the 10 picking up the ball in transition. And Slot's counters, and when they broke for us, was really lethal. It was causing us problems because of the movement there. And I think Salah has looked impressive in pre-season under Slot. He looks sharp. He looks like he could have come off the back of a good season. Obviously, he wasn't great since AFCON, but there's a good player in Salah, and I think people start to doubt him. But I think Salah's one of those players you can never doubt, because he's one of those few players that he can get 20 goals a season. He can change a game. He can have a bad game, but then still score and win the game. Now, I was really impressed by Conor Bradley, if I'm going to be honest, and I've been really impressed by Conor Bradley in pre-season. The fact that he will be second to Trent is crazy, because Conor Bradley looks very good. He was very good in Trent's absence last season, and he's looked very good on the Slot. I think that he looked really bright today. I think the counterbalance he brings is something that's really big. I think he works really well in those triangles. Now, I remember watching Liverpool when you went on that really good run just before you lost 3-0 to Atalanta, where McAllister was playing further up, Salah and obviously Bradley were linking up, and those triangles were working really well. You saw again today, Elliott, Salah and Conor Bradley, those triangles work really well. There's patterns on the pitch, there's triangles there. And it looked really good. It worked really well. And I think with Conor Bradley, he is a right-back version of Robertson. He can get up the pitch. He can contribute with his triangles. He's a very clever player, intelligent player that reads the game incredibly well. So he'll contribute in those triangles. He'll pass or move, this intricate play to break down low blocks. But he makes those runs. So as soon as he releases the ball, he makes those runs, which means if Liverpool played that pass to Bradley as he's making those runs, it meant that they could almost play through Manchester United's defensive line, get in transition opportunities. But Conor Bradley defensively looks solid. Obviously, Rashford's a very difficult opponent. 1v1, very good attacking and defensively, because he's got that pace. He brings a certain kind of energy to Liverpool and a drive. He really wants to get forward and make things happen, but he can overlap, he can underlap, and I think he's a player that could further develop under Slot. I think him and Kwanzaa, in terms of your future right centre-back and your future right-back maybe, or Trent's still young, you've got two really highly technical, talented academy players that could further develop under Slot. And I think that those two are good. I think you've also got that Nioni guy that looks very good. You can see why Slot wants him. He's a very technically gifted player. I think he's a special talent. It'll be interesting to see if he breaks out this season. And I don't know if we have a Maino type season to break out this season, simply because there's a lot of better players in Liverpool's midfield for him to compete with. But you can see why Slot likes him. Now, I was really impressed by Gravenberch. I think Gravenberch looks sharp, particularly for a first game back. I think Gravenberch is a player that I think could go up a level under Slot, if you want me to be completely honest with him. I think one thing about Gravenberch is he's very comfortable in a possession-based system, which Slot will have, and Gravenberch likes to turn and create space for himself. Gravenberch, when he gets the ball, will move it quickly and turn and create space for himself. And I think Liverpool struggled with Curtis Jones taking too many touches, but Gravenberch will touch the ball, turn and create space for himself. And if you can get the balance right and the conditions right in midfield to bring the best out in Gravenberch, you will see the Gravenberch that was at Ajax, as was compared to Bellingham. When Gravenberch was at Ajax and Bellingham was at Dortmund 2-3 seasons ago, those two were compared of who's going to be the next big midfield signing. So I think Liverpool definitely need a DM, potentially a left-sided centre-back reinforcement. I can understand why they want a winger, because Slot puts a heavy emphasis on wingers, but you can see why Gravenberch could become a good player in the Slot. And I actually thought when Liverpool dropped off last season, I still think in some of the games where Liverpool were poor, Gravenberch would have had a good game. I actually thought Gravenberch had some really good games for Liverpool at the back end of last season. Same with Gakpo, and showed some moments. And I think, you can get Gakpo on the left wing rather than centrally. And I think that would be my biggest criticism as a Klopp, as I think he misprofiled Gakpo, even though he's not as pacey as Diaz or a 1v1 winger as Diaz. And then you can get sort of the balance right to get Gravenberch on the ball, doing the turns, progressing the ball. I think Liverpool are in a good position. So yeah, I'm disappointed to lose 3-0 to Liverpool, but I'm not overly worried. It's a pre-season friendly. I mean, we beat you 4-0 in pre-season a few years ago. It's not the end of the world. I think that Man United didn't play awfully bad. I think Liverpool were in control and they didn't get out second gear, and we didn't make it difficult for you guys. You beat us 3-0. It was very easy for you going forward, and I thought Liverpool looked very good going forward. I thought, Slot's style of football is interesting, and I thought, Man United's sort of front line was all right. But I do think that Liverpool have that extra quality in attack. They took the chances better, and Liverpool are only going to improve from this game. And Liverpool have won 3 out of 3 games in pre-season. I think slot ball is an exciting attacking style of football to play, and Liverpool will get even better. And I do apologise if this isn't my best and most detailed match reaction. I'm just absolutely exhausted because I'm recording this at like 4 in the morning. Because I've just recorded the reaction from my Man United channel, so obviously I'll talk about that from a Man United perspective, and then I'm trying to look at this from a Liverpool perspective, and obviously when I was watching the game I was focusing on a United perspective. But please do hit that like button, of course subscribe down below if you're new. Thank you for watching.